My wife has been training in combat since she was born. She has 2 older sisters and they're both mean. They started leaving her alone when she started training in sword combat. The first time she got to cut in a public demonstration, we were still dating, and it was a local demonstration. Her parents came up to me after the show. Her dad came up, shook my hand, laughed, shook his head, and just turned and walked off. Her mother came up, shook my hand, and said, "You are the bravest man I have ever met." And I'm like, "I did it for dating your daughter, right?" And she goes, "No. We didn't let her use a steak knife growing up because she wasn't safe. You gave her a sword." And I'm like, "That's funny, I'm going to remember that." And I looked over and my wife was making that face. I'm like, "Oh my God, it's true?" She got her driver's license before they would let her have a steak knife at the table. And it wasn't because she wasn't capable of using a knife, it's that she has poor impulse control and had 2 older sisters. And she still has 2 older sisters because they wouldn't let her have a steak knife. But she's been much more popular, or her sisters are nicer to her now. A lot. Because they're afraid of her. So we're going to let you see that women can use razor-sharp pieces of steel just as well as the guys, and in some cases, better. Really, I bring you up here, and the first thing you do is make a bet. So, for the samurai as they train, first step up was the downward diagonal cut, designed to hit just inside the shoulder and open up their opponent. The cut is called Tameshigiri. It's named after the hem on a monk's robe because that's the line the cut should be going through. I would go stand in front of my son, but I already know she'll hit him. So, sweetheart, if you would, please. No. Tameshigiri, basic downward diagonal cutting. While she's cutting, I want to throw this in here. Watch which leg she has in front as she's cutting. Most modern Japanese swordsmanship teaches techniques where they don't differentiate between your blade angle and which leg you have in front. On the battlefield, for a samurai to cut, they cut away from their lead leg because bad things happen torquing your body this way. If the blade gets deflected, it's going to the inside of the thigh where the femoral artery runs, and samurai armor protects the outside of the thigh, the haidate, the divided metal apron they have, had metal on the outside, not on the inside, because samurai were cavalry, means they rode horses. And if you spend any time on a horse, you know that having metal on the inside of your thigh would chafe. Okay? So metal on the outside, not as on the inside. And bringing the sword violently to the inside of your own leg is not something to brag about in samurai heaven. How'd you die? I was one of the 47 Ronin. How'd you die? I cut my own leg off. So make sure she does this right. If she doesn't, God bless you, talk to her about it. Downward diagonal. Really? You couldn't even do the punch. Is that you that cried out on the first cut? It was, wasn't it? Here's your arm. No applause? He caught that! Oh, wait, I understand. We're in Chicago. You guys aren't used to seeing a forward pass being completed. Sorry. Hey, you've got the Cubs. And the Blackhawks. I mean, I'm sorry. I realize I'm making sports references at an anime con. The first time I did that, my son was like, "Dad, those are bombing." I'm like, "It's a sports." Yeah, You're making sports jokes at AnimeCon. Take a good look at your audience. These are the kids who got notes to get out of gym class. What? Samurai didn't just cut down. They also cut same angle, but reverse. Remember I talked about the no armor on the inside of the thigh? Bad to hit yourself. But on the battlefield, performing an upward diagonal cut designed to hit the inside of the leg on the other guy was really hard to perform, but it was even harder to defend against. The upward cut, you actually gain reach on that. You can hit somebody from further away cutting upwards than you can downwards. So I'm going to go stand over by my son. Upward diagonal cut, sweetheart. Kiriage. That almost stayed there.
I know. I was hoping.
Incomplete. We did a cutting demonstration for opening ceremonies the first time I was at Tokyo and Tulsa, and I threw a mat piece out in the audience. Everybody got all excited. Me! Scott McNeil got really excited, came running in from the wings, grabbed a mat piece, turned around and went zing! Threw it backwards over his head and broke the chandelier in main events. Guess who got blamed for it? Because really, you're going to blame a world-famous voice actor or a nobody martial arts instructor. They didn't invite me back for 3 years. Somebody posted it on YouTube, and we had to show the convention, the YouTube clip, go like, that wasn't me. And then they invited us back. Yes! Hi. Samurai didn't just cut on this axis, they also went this way. Because this one's more fun. Remember we talked before about cavalry? Hey, no profanity. I'm gonna get blamed for that too. People go riding by on ponies. You didn't cut this way, that might hurt the horse. You cut this way and took the guy off the horse. And then you have new war pony. So, Yokogiri, the side cut.
I get to end Darth Maul.
You went Star Wars on? Oh. Might as well with the guy in the front row.
What's my name? Distraction. More than a shiny thing.
Somebody had their hand up earlier. Oh, yeah, clear it. If Aaron Rodgers can do it. We're going long! Yeah, she got it. You just sat there and let it bounce and then picked it up. That's not how you play football. Never mind. All right, that's basic cuts. What you watched her do is called Frito-May, which has nothing to do with Frito-Lay. Don't get excited. Frito-May is a Japanese term for basic cuts that they're like a line segment. Has a beginning and an end. You swing, you cut through your opponent, and it's over with. There are more advanced cutting concepts than Frito-May. And while there are instructors and warriors that can do those cuts, combat is very seldom a static thing where you just stand there and go, and cut through. even though it happened to Darth Maul. He was told to hold still for the script. Trust me, hold still. It'll help your career. More advanced concepts for the samurai included makuri. Makuri means circle, circular cut. In this instance, what's happening is you're taking a blade and you are cutting at your opponent. You hit him once, and instead of stopping and bringing the blade back up, it is faster to let the blade take the momentum and cycle through the cut, a little bit of a body pivot, come back to Jodan position and be able to cut again. So you are, in essence, hacking your opponent down, cutting them, until there's no longer an opponent in front of you.
I like makuris.
Could be in front of you, yeah. Just some over there, exactly. Is it wrong that I just had an Ahmed moment from Jeff Dunham? Where's your son? He's over there, he's over there. That's from back when Jeff Dunham was still funny. He was great. His first comedy shows were amazing, and then he got a TV show. Unfortunately, that's the death for a lot of comedians. And yes, I am worried that Jeff Dunham's going to hear me and send the dolls after me. Go Chucky. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
My wife will watch any horror movie with me at all unless it has dolls. So Annabelle, and that kind of creeps her out. She won't watch it.
I don't know why. It's the whole creepy animated doll thing makes me want to kill it. Kill it with fire.
That was the end of Child's Play 2, I think. No. All right, so samurai continued training. This is about circular cuts. Controlling the blade. If you're just swinging, the tendency is you lose the hasuji. Hasuji is your blade angle. And you want to keep your blade angle correct so that you're still delivering optimum cuts. Bless you. Sweetheart? Makuri. Really? I could do that holding my beer. Alcohol and the internet, keeping redneck population down since 1990. Next up, that's the same angle, same direction, and while it's a good thing, you notice there was a time lag there that would allow an opponent, if you didn't finish him on the first cut, they have time to react as you bring the blade back into position to cut again. A faster combination cut is called kaishi waza, or returning technique. So in this case, you cut down and then reverse the blade and bring it back up on the same path. For test cutting purposes, you're not going on the same path, or she's cutting air on the second strike. She's cutting down, reversing the blade, and cutting up. Kaishi doesn't refer to the angle, simply the concept that the cuts are going along the same angle, but in the opposite directions. My wife may be cutting up and then down, or over and then back. I have no idea, and I'm going to get out of the way because there's a good fair chance she doesn't have an idea either. Hi, sweetie. I love you. Kaishi waza. You guys are applauding the razor-sharp precision of her cuts, but you're getting a little more muted with every match she cuts. Like you're a little bit more afraid of her with each one. I live with this. People ask me, they ask us, how'd you marry her? Do you know how we got married? She told me to. And I was afraid to say no. That was our first date. She was helping me make a flyer on the computer, for a seminar that my instructor was in town to do. And I'm one of those guys that get job focused and I just zero in on it and forget about everything. So she showed up at the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and at 7 o'clock at night, we hadn't moved away from the computer yet. No food, no bathroom breaks, nothing, because we are working. At 7 o'clock, she goes, "You were taking me out for Chinese food." I'm like, "No, I'm not." "Yes, I am." And so we went out. And 3 years later, we got engaged, and it was a lot the same. "You're asking me to marry you?" "No." "Yes, I am."
Hi.
So, combination cutting. Mukuri in a circle, Kaishi, the reverse. Next up, and a little bit more advanced yet, is called Nagashi. Nagashi are 2 cuts that are going one after the other as a combination, but they're going into, are you laughing at my accent? Don't do that. You're laughing at something else. Now, what else am I doing? Am I not dressed right? Shut up. Where you're cutting down and doing an angle change to make a second cut going in a different direction, because that's harder yet to defend against. Okay, the difficulty with Nagashi is that the cuts tend to flatten out and are too similar, and if you don't maintain the proper angle, you're not going to be creating enough damage on your target. Nagashi. I feel like I should have been taking her a Scooby treat or something.
I get a Scooby snack.
All right.
Back to the Frito-Lays?
No, stop that.
Dang it!
All right. We're going to move from basic cutting concepts, we're going to move to some battlefield. We were in a kickboxing class until she started, and now it's giggling, and we all laugh as well because we're afraid not to. So, Kaisuch, sidestepping towards the lead leg, and an angle cut.
Can I start now?
As soon as you hear the drum. Can't start any song without drums.
This is true.
So remember, we talked earlier about cutting with the sword, that you want to cut that diagonal cut away from your lead leg. So what you saw was her doing 3 cuts, sidestepping the same direction, so we could keep the same angle. If you find yourself in a position where you have, say, your right foot in front, and the attack's coming at you, and you can't move to that side, you want to move this way, and you still want to do an angle on your cut, you have to change your lead foot. So the step is out and a spin. This is called kirikash.
Side to side.
How close?
Touching.
Touching.
I like it when they touch. Poor Michael. La, 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 la.
You have just 2 opponents coming at you to start with, okay?
Okay.
But picture them in waves. They're all running at you. The zombie apocalypse, 2 at a time.
Okay, so still 2, not 1 giant monster.
Correct.
Okay.
2 separate monsters. You hit him at the same time on the other one?
Yeah, you didn't say there was anything wrong with that. I can take them both out at once.
That's kind of cool.
It was my Deadpool moment. I lined them up.
Good, you're counting shots?
Yes. Maximum effort. Minimum.
All right, fine. You want maximum effort? Let's go back to 3 stands.
Uh-oh.
Still working on battlefield concepts. Stay right until the last part. You sounded like a great white shark. But, Nami. So we're going to have you start in the middle.
Okay.
And your job is to take out your opponent. Do you want it here or do you want this back just slightly?
Back a little.
I kind of thought so. Ta-da! Want that one back too?
And the middle one, 3.
You want it all back?
Yes, because I decided that trying to do this right on the gap between the edges is just tempting fate for the stage to open there. And we did that once. We were performing on a stage. They hadn't actually hooked the risers together underneath. And we started our sparring section, and the risers started sliding apart.
Does anybody remember the movie 10 Commandments with Charlton Heston? Do you remember the part where he came down and the children of Israel were misbehaving and he got mad and God opened up the ground and they all fell in? That happened to us on stage. Stage opens up, I'm falling, God, I'm sorry! And I don't know what I did, but I know it was my fault.
The stage crew saw it happening, so they panicked and came running to push the risers back together, which almost made it worse, because then you're like trying to, okay, now it's not just opening, they're
So now it's like a balance game. Hi.
Hi.
Stop stalling.
Aww.
Nami. This needs big drums. You're getting messier.
I'm sorry.
All right. 3 was not enough. Look, alfalfa. All right. This is your job. Step to the middle. You are middle. Surrounded by bad guys.
Okay.
People who hate you and wish you harm. So, it could happen.
You could?
Look. Pretend that you are surrounded by a vast sea of hostile, unfriendly faces where people hate you and wish you harm.
These guys love me. See, look,
You guys are not helping. Look, pretend that you're completely alone, surrounded by a group of people who are anonymous and hate you and wish you harm. You know, like high school. So, your goal is to cut down all of your enemies until they're no longer in your way. That explains why most of the kids you went to high school are afraid of you too.
Why there were so few in our graduating class.
That's right, you taught at her school, didn't you? All right, let's leave battlefield alone for a while. You've demonstrated prowess. Let's move on. Let's let you cut another way. Sorry, it just seemed like the easiest reference. Hi, Samurai Street Defense.
Decapitation style?
Is there any other way?
Don't cut me, please.
Okay, that was the wrong time for him to do that. Just go ahead and go, done?
Well, yeah, you said do too.
I know, I just want to make sure we're on the same page before I got
Do any of you know who the voice actor Sean Schimmel is?
Goku!
Yes.
Still
The
silent.
first
Really?
time-
I knew that and you didn't?
The first time we met him, he was super excited that we knew swords, and he came running up to Dan and wanted to know if Dan would sell him a wakizashi because he lives in New York and he wanted something to defend his apartment. And Dan was entertaining that idea of, I mean, we can get swords. Why? And when Sean explained, Dan got scared.
He wanted a wakizashi for home defense because he couldn't get a carry permit in New York for a handgun. Oh yeah, sure, I'll give you a, oh my God. If you've met Sean Schimmel is like a 9-year-old on a sugar rush. He's awesome. Do you remember Robin Williams as the genie in Aladdin? That's Sean.
In real life. I can't think of the wakizashi without Sean Schimmel.
Great.
All right. Hey!
Didn't I just say that you couldn't cut as well with that as you could with the longsword?
You were wrong.
Been married a long time, I'm getting used to it. So fine. Women, being a little bit shorter than the men, had a little bit of a reach disadvantage against a man on horseback, so they used the pole arm to be able to hit them from farther away. And so women's groups started training in the coordinated use of the naginata to drive people out and protect the villages. And today, if you take kendo, they have an entire division of naginata that is predominantly used for women. It didn't start off that way. It was a battlefield weapon, but this was actually our wedding present from our groomsmen, which I pointed out to them was the worst thing they could have done was gotten us a sharp, shiny thing as a wedding present and only gotten us one. And they smiled and said, you get to fight over it. So here we are.
It was extra funny. They gave it to us at rehearsal dinner at a Chinese restaurant. So this is like, there's full restaurant of people and they bring in this giant long box and we open up and shiny! And everybody just kind of scatters away. It was great. We had the buffet to ourselves. Anything.
Cutting with the naginata, dear. Cental, team cutting. Ready? Okay.
Hey!
Yeah!
Oh!
Get out of your way. I believe I signed on for this part. All right. Are we ready, Michael?
I'm ready.
Take it away. Ready? Right! Go! Go! All right. So this is the way it works. I cut, she cuts, you erupt in thunderous applause, and then go visit our merch table while we clean up our mess. All right. And you're going to drum and get excited. And, okay. So this is the way it works. Are you ready at the merch table? Yes. Okay. All right. So I cut, you cut. All right. Are you ready for this? Yeah! Are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah!
I'm not. How does that thing go?
What are you doing? You're not even Catholic!
It couldn't hurt. Actually, I said that at Anime Milwaukee 2 years ago, and a college girl sitting over there went, "Yes, it could!" And me being me with no filter, I snap back, "Only if I'm an altar boy." And now we no longer teach at Catholic schools.
Nope.
So, stand up straight. Die like a man.
He's slouching. Good posture. It's important.
You ready? So, up, over, done. And for those of you taking pictures, I just wanted you to understand, once I get started, it doesn't take us very long and we're finished. Shut up!
I got him just a little off the top. I did it. They have video evidence.
You cut off the end that I cut.
He tried to jump. I got him this way.
You've been doing this cut for 12 years. That has never happened before. I thought you missed.
I got him.
You cut off the...
Look, I did it right. You don't have to make me do it again.
Who said that?
I like that they just keep pointing down the line.
Fine, Fluffy, this is for you.
Really, we're listening to Fluffy now.
I'm winning.
Stay. Be quiet. Ready?
Party foul.
We're going to edit this. Wouldn't that have been an end for the show? Say we're down! Face plants on the floor! Oh, you guys have been... Hi. You're my favorite. You made it through the whole show without snorting this time. Which means you deserve this. I feel like we've just now invented a new Olympic sport. We're throwing map pieces. That one was intercepted. You guys have seen that one. Hi. You're waiting for me to bow us out, but I'm still having fun throwing maps pieces. Hey! You stood up and it hit you right in the hand. All right, we'll toss some more pieces out first, but we should bow out of this before people start thinking we're rude. Show me, right? どうもありがとうございます。